Alright everybody, we are back, and as you can see by the title of this video, this is the final race of Hyperdrive Esports. Oh, got something caught in my beard there. And yeah, not just for the season, but overall. You know, this league is disbanding after this season, and they announced that this will be the last race. This was a abrupt change that came after the Singapore race weekend. After, well, our race is the last race to run out of all the tiers, and they announced that this week's races would be the last week of races. But it actually wasn't. You know, there was a whole nother week of the other tiers. All the other tiers raced again, except the top tier, of course. But, yeah, as much as I want to go on a big rant, and you guys know me, I can go on my rants and go very detailed into it, for better or for worse sometimes, I'm going to hold off. Because after this race, I'll share something which I think just embodies all of it. So you'll hear everything I think about that. But yeah, obviously I wasn't happy because you guys know from Series Pass, if you've been with me since last year's game when I first started making these videos, that something that's important to me in a league is consistency. You know, we sign up for a league, we sign up for a schedule, the rules are what the rules are, and then we stick by it. You know, I hate when we change schedule. This league changed schedule 4 times. We had the wrong lobby settings another 5 times. Yeah, I'm going off on the rant that's going to be covered later. So for now, I'm just going to shut up about it. Like I said, here we are. Um, at the final race, we skipped ahead in the calendar all the way to Abu Dhabi for not just the final race of the season, but the final race of Hyperdrive Esports. A quick summary of what Hyperdrive is. It's a culmination. It's a merger of other leagues, a couple of which were already leagues that were mergers of 2 leagues. So there was 2 leagues that were merged. I guess it's the way to break it down was there was 4 leagues, right? These are the 4 leagues. 2 of them merged over here. 2 of them merged over here, and that was Parabolical and whatever the fuck the other one was called. And then now they all merged together to create Hyperdrive. Um, yeah, and this will be the last race of that. There was a lot of higher ups involved that originally came from the other league that I wasn't associated with. I was associated with the first merger league called Parabolical from F1 2020, halfway through F1 2020, all the way up to the beginning of Hyperdrive. And yeah, a lot of the people from the other league were very rude, inconsistent, unprofessional, just not good league admins and not good drivers to be around either, honestly. I mean, I don't want to say that about all of them, but a good chunk of them. And they all decided partway through this season to completely break off and leave. So good riddance, I guess. But yeah, it kind of left, they just abruptly left their positions of running the league, leaving the league very underhanded. So some of the stuff, some of the issues are excusable, but at the same time, you know, it all could have been very easily amended by, you know, simply sticking to the rule format and schedule that you started with at the beginning and not changing it, for example, and having the correct lobby settings when we join up. But, you know, I digress. Here we are, final round of Abu Dhabi. Again, not full qualifying, going to short qualifying, another rule change. You know how I love those, especially when they're told last minute. And this is going to be my last run here in, I almost said Q3, but just qualifying in general. Our first lap was good enough for P2, but I knew I had improvements to be made. I'm a big fan of this track, especially the new version of this track. I've always thought Abu Dhabi is an S-tier league racing track. It's that nice balance of having places to overtake while not being a slipstream fest. I think the changes just make this track even better for racing. And yeah, I was pumped to get into this one. I was feeling decently confident about my pace as well. Something I did notice though is that I was running a little bit of a different setup compared to a lot of the other competitors. So I had a little bit of a higher downforce setup, which simply means I'm going to be fast as fuck in Sector 3, but I might be a little vulnerable down the DRS straights. But here at the start of our lap, nice and solid so far. I want to keep it tight here on these 2 new corners, these long lefts that they implemented. The only bad thing about them is that because the force feedback is not as good on pad in this year's game as it was in last year's game, around those 2 new corners, those long left-handers, you essentially have no force feedback on the when you're trying to get onto the throttle, which makes the traction very tricky, which in the race means I got to err a little bit on the side of caution. So I might be losing, a tenth or so in those corners, but over the course of an entire race, that adds up. And especially in qualifying, when the competition, as you guys have seen throughout all these videos, is so high and so consistent, it really adds up. But the game is what the game is. I just practice as much as I can, become as good as I can be. But it is a shame that the force feedback on pad has gone backwards from last year's game. A lot of other stuff's gotten a lot better, but yeah, I wish the force feedback was still at the same level it was in last year's game, because I felt super connected to the track on pad last year. It was a pretty decent lap overall. Here I have a pretty poor final corner. Broke too early. I clipped the inside curb, lose some speed. Coming across the line, it's a 123.3. I was hoping to do at least a 123.1. Well, I don't want to say at least a 123.1. That was like my goal, like my potential time, 123.1. I don't mean potential as in like maybe I'd get it one time, but I could get it somewhat regularly. So 123.1 or 2, but we get a 123.3, and we will see where that lines us up on the grid. At the end of qualifying, you can see our 123.3 was good enough for P4, but look at how tight the times were. If I just had a better final corner, I would be at least P2, which, it just shows how high the level is in this league. But hey, P4, nice solid results. Also, I forgot to mention the points. Obviously, it makes my goals of reaching second in the championship and winning the Constructors' Championship a lot harder, because I was on the bottom trying to work my way up, and now all of a sudden a lot of tracks that I'm good at the end of the calendar, just the races don't exist, and I have to make it all happen in one race somehow. So after our win in last week's race at Singapore, which was, if I do say so myself, probably a little biased because we won a fantastic race and probably the best video I've had of a league race so far this year. Going into this final race, I didn't quite realize it at the time, but for me to get P2 in the championship, it is possible. I have to win. It's pretty simple, though. If I win, I'm P2. If I don't, I'm not, because I moved up to third in the championship. I was fourth going into Singapore. Moved up to the third after the win, and the guy that's in second is not here, so he can't do anything about me not getting second if I win. So if we win the race, we're P2 in the championship. If not, then we're probably P3, possibly P4 in the championship. So, like I said, I didn't know this at the time, so I was thinking just get a good result. Maybe P2 is still possible. But yeah, it's a bummer that I only have one race to work with now all of a sudden, which wasn't supposed to be the case at all, but I'm not going to keep hammering on the same point, or at least try not to. And as far as the Constructors looked, after the big point scoring done by us in the last couple races at McLaren, we are actually within 7 points now of Alfa Romeo. If we outscore the Alfa Romeo team in this race by 7, well, we have to outscore them by 8 points, 7 points to tie. And they have more wins than us because of Kieran, who is the Drivers' Championship. He's not even present for this race, but it doesn't matter. He's already the champion. If we beat Alfa Romeo as a team by, well, I guess it would be 8 points then in this race, we will be Constructors' Championships. Yeah, Constructors' Champions. Win the championship. Fucking up my English here. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult to complete both of my goals. I think the Constructors' Championship's very possible. Actually somewhat likely after the good qualifying I had. But yeah, Drivers' Championship, getting one win was a stretch this season, but getting 2, let alone in a row, it's going to be a whole nother ordeal. But hey, we'll be huffing that hopium the whole race. But yeah, like I said, at the time during the race, I didn't know. And speaking of the strategy, it's the same thing as every other track in the game this year. Don't have to rehash that point again. Let's jump to the start of this race. And speaking of the race, note how it's daytime when we run official time in this league. Another setting we fucking got wrong, which makes a big difference when it's usually a night race on tire temperatures, which is why on my setup you saw me drop the temperatures down to minimal. I mean, the pressure's down to minimal, because this error is probably going to cause people's tires to overheat. These are, again, big lobby issues. But nonetheless, I'm going to not hammer on those points again. We get a decent grid start, go side by side into turn 1. We're up into third. We respect the space of the car on the outside. And we're going to slot in the third here early on. So great start by us, getting a good start on the hard tire. And I forget if any of the guys in front of me were on the medium tire at the time. And I get hit in the butt there by Chalkers behind in the Aston Martin. I'm going to use a decent amount of ERS here to try to make sure I secure this position, this P3 off the start. Dip into the slipstream, but with the heavy braking zone ahead, I need to make sure I don't brake too late. I do brake a little bit late, but even though I brake late, I get hit in the ass again by Chalkers. 2 in a row here, and because that messes up my run coming onto the straight, that's actually going to make me vulnerable to him. And I was kind of irritated at the time that he would hit me and then try to pass me on the next straight. But, you know, it is what it is. We're going to hug the inside of this corner. I mentioned it during the SRL video how important having the inside of that corner is, just because of the lack of grip on the outside. So, yeah, you'll see me use that in this race a lot, you know, any chance I can. And we have a spin in front of us, and he was on the medium tire. So the Mercedes in front of us has spun. And we are up in the P2 on lap 1. A great start for us. Go from 4th to 2nd. We're on the preferred tire. And, yeah, things are looking good right now. AC Immortal. Throwback to a championship battle I had with him. Would have been... It might have even been 2 years ago at this point. Holy shit. I believe it was him that was battling me for the parabolical custom car, the multiplayer car division championship, which we won that championship, but he gave us a run for our money in it, and it made for a really interesting battle where we had a lot of good races together. And yeah, that's something I didn't make videos about, but parabolical and then hyperdrive last year, they both had a custom car or multiplayer car championships, and we won both of them. So I'm undefeated in my career in multiplayer car championships. So I got that going for me. But back on the top of the race, we are slotted in the P2. We're going to try to use some ERS here early on to break the DRS to the cars behind and just start nailing in some consistent laps and really secure our podium position here. With how a lot of the races have gone this season, I was expecting a safety car to come out at some point, because it always seems to happen. But I was hoping it would wait long enough to come out that it would be in a position where we can take the medium tires to the end. As the laps would go on, you can see we had slowly caught up to AC Immortal over time. What really helps is that because I run a bit of a higher downforce setup, it helps me get close enough in Sector 3 that at the beginning of the lap, when we get to these straights, I can be in DRS zone. So we clawed our way into the DRS zone here, using a little bit of ERS as well to make sure we maintain it. And now I went from thinking, okay, we're just slotted into P2, we're good to go, to thinking, hey, you know, I have an opportunity to challenge this guy for the lead. And my mind started thinking, oh man, could we possibly get 2 in a row right at the end of the season? That would be massive for us and huge momentum for us going into whatever season is next for us, other than SRL, which is still, of course, ongoing, and it's just one season over the course of the entire game's lifespan. Yeah, as you can see, we've gotten very close to AC Immortal here, and this is where we are quicker. And this is how we're probably going to make the overtake happen. Not necessarily make the overtake happen in Sector 3, but by using our downforce advantage to stick close to him, even though we're in the dirty air, which will set us up for an easier chance to make the overtake happen, even though we are running a higher downforce setup than him. You can see here we've advanced to lap 6. The laps would tick on. I'd be able to stay in his DRS, but I wouldn't be able to get close enough to be able to challenge for the lead at this point. But I was still hoping for maybe a little bit of a mistake by him, or if I could just find a little bit more pace or have a little bit more of a better lap maybe in the beginning to get that chance to overtake him. And I also didn't know what kind of ERS level he was at this point. Was he using the ERS to stay ahead? You know, who knows at this point, but I was really hoping as we start to inch closer to the pit stops, I was really hoping to be able to overtake him before the pit stops, maybe perform a slight undercut or something to help overtake him, and then extend to the 1 second gap so he's not in my DRS, because if he gets in my DRS if I'm ahead, it's going to be trouble for me since he already has a straight line speed advantage on us. Coming now on lap 8, we are closer than we have ever been. We are going to use some of the ERS. We've got the DRS. Can we make the move happen now and get into the lead of this race? I see the lights start to blink on his car. He is really down on ERS. We're getting down on ERS too. We don't quite have the room on the inside. We get the traction down a little bit, but we clip the inside curb. We hug the inside too tight, and I just smartly let off the gas so you could see this car start to over-rotate. If I would have fully committed to applying the throttle there, I would have definitely spun. So a little bit of a close call. Went for it just a tiny bit too much, but at least I didn't lose a bunch of time, and I'm still within his DRS and still might be able to get another chance to make an overtake. I might be low in ERS, but he is even lower, which means he's been using more ERS to keep ahead of us than we've been using to keep up with him. Lap 10 now, we're getting closer and closer to the pit cycle. And like I said, I just really wanted to get ahead of him if I could before the pit cycle. But at the same time, I was being cautious to not over push and spin and ruin my whole race trying to get the pass done in the first half of the race. We got the DRS down this straight, but we're not going to be near close enough to make an overtake. So it's all about setting up for the next DRS straight. We're going to brake late. We're going to stick it on the apex, and we might be able to get a good enough run here to make the overtake happen. We're committing to it here. We're as close as we've ever been. We're using the ERS. We've got the DRS open. He's out of ERS. My light's going to be blinking at this point. He moves over. We're going to stick it down the inside, make the corner as short as possible, not click the curb on the inside this time. We see the red arrow. We respect the space, but he backs out of it. You hear me yell, America, and we make the pass done, and we have taken the lead of this race. And man, that was a good feeling overtake there because I had to work for it for so many laps. And just the thought of thinking, wow, we could go from not being able to really challenge for wins too much this whole season to maybe win 2 in a row right at the end and win constructors because of it. And like at the time I didn't know, but get P2 in the drivers because of it. This was a really good feeling moment for us. Coming out of the exit of the final corner to start lap 12. We look behind and we see that he's just spun behind us. AC Immortal has spun behind us, pushing hard to try to stay within our DRS range. We were slowly pulling away from him, just inching out of his DRS range. He pushes hard to try to keep in it and makes a mistake. Now we have a big gap behind us, and as far as I was concerned, this was GG. The race was over at this point. If there is not going to be a safety car in this race, we pretty much got this thing already wrapped up. Big gap behind us. We'll be fast as hell on the medium tires when we go to our pit stop, and there isn't anyone in this lobby that has a pace advantage over us, let alone a pace advantage big enough to make up the gap that we have built in this race.
Max is out.
And as you could probably predict, it's not just a hyperdrive race, but also a race where I'm leading, which means, of course, there's going to be a safety car. Luckily, though, it came out right as I was dipping into the pits anyhow, so it all worked out in the end. We got a bullshit corner cut warning, but yeah, the safety car's out. We dive into the pits. It sucks that we lose that gap that we spent time building the whole race, but at the same time, we're still in a good position. The only thing I'm worried about now is cars with less downforce than us being right up our butt here on the restart and having our slipstream. I had mixed feelings about this. I was happy that, at least I can go to the medium tire to the end. I'm going to be on a good tire for the rest of the race, and I'm in the lead. But at the same time, I had this thing pretty much won already with the gap that we had built up. No one's going to be able to run us down at that point. But nonetheless, all I was thinking about right now is let's get a good restart, maybe use some ERS early to break out of DRS, and reestablish our dominance in this race and try to pick up our second win in a row. Safety car to come in at the end of lap 17. We'll be starting lap 18. We will have 11 or 12 laps to go of green flag racing to end this one. And gotta play those mind games. Can't make my restart predictable. I launch here quickly right before the breaking point of the final corner. Really unorthodox spot, but it caught people off guard behind me. We got a little bit of a gap behind us here at the restart. But like I said, I was worried because I got people with lower downforce than me right behind me. And yeah, I knew that they would make it very difficult for me if they got a good run going down any of these DRS straights. Going into the first of the DRS straights, though, it looks like we got enough of a gap that without the DRS, they're not going to be able to break ahead of us. We're going to use some ERS, though, early to try to open up as much of a gap as possible. I know that I'm really fast in Sector 3, so if I can open up any kind of a gap, and then in Sector 3 open up to over a second in the next couple of laps, then we might be able to break out of the DRS, break out of the slipstream, and run away with this one. Lap 20 now. DRS is activated, and you can see by the slight proximity arrow behind us, we have not quite broken out of the 1 second barrier, and we got our teammate behind us, Lynx. So I had mixed feelings about this. I want to win this race, so I don't want anyone right behind me with an opportunity to pass me. But at the same time, seeing me and Lynx both there, I thought, okay, we got constructors wrapped up. So at least we had that going for us. And like I said, at the time, I didn't know that I had to win this race to be able to get P2 in the Drivers' Championship. So I didn't even realize how important it was to hold this position. But, of course, you always want to hold first position. You want to get that win. That's what everyone's racing for. But our teammate's definitely going to make it difficult for us, as he didn't know the situation either in the last 10 laps of this race. As the laps would tick on, he would slowly get closer and closer behind us. He had a big straight line advantage over us, but we were faster in Sector 3, so that's what would help us pull enough of a gap they wouldn't be able to pass us down the straight. We also got P3 coming up behind us as well. I forget who that was in P3 behind us. So yeah, I got 2 guys to worry about at the moment. I was really hoping that they would battle really hard and lose time because of it. You know, we can kind of pull away, but I wasn't expecting to have that kind of luck, because I knew at the end of the day that they both were coming for me in P1. As the laps advance, lap 26 now, we look behind us, we don't see our teammate, we see a Red Bull behind us. I forget which Red Bull it was that was behind us. You can see he's coming up super fast. He has a great run on us. We're going to make him go around the outside. We stick to the inside, so it looks like we're going to be able to complete the defense of our position. And I see the proximity arrows disappear, and he makes the mistake AC Immortal made early in the race, being too aggressive, getting on the throttle, and spins himself out. That puts my teammate back in the P2 of this race, so at least now I only have to worry about 1 car behind me, but I had to use a lot of my remaining ERS, if not almost all of it, to go defensive there, and I lost just a little bit of time having to change my line. So this is going to give my teammate a chance to get back into my DRS, especially with the 2 straights that he has the advantage on coming up in this lap. But on lap 27 of 29, I only have 3 laps to go. Only for 3 laps do I have to hold off my teammate to claim this win. Our teammate would get closer and closer to us, but he wouldn't be able to get close enough to challenge us for the lead. And as we come around the final corner, this will be starting the last lap of the race, the last lap of the season, the last lap all time the top division of Hyperdrive Esports. And all we need to do is hold off for 1 more lap to claim our 2nd win in a row and get P2 in the championship. But would we be able to do it? Our teammate is mighty quick and right behind us with a lot more straight line speed than we got. Heading into the first of the 2 straights, I'm going to be a little bit risky here with how aggressive I am to get on the throttle. You can see the car starting to oversteer and wanting to step out from under me as I got the power down. I used just a touch of my ERS. I am down to basically nothing. I can see my teammate gaining on me so quickly, and I was so worried going down this next straightaway. I thought he was going to get me for sure. I thought this was definitely it. It's over. I could see 2 proximity arrows behind me. He was right behind me. He has the DRS. He has a little bit of ERS. He doesn't blow by me like I thought he would. He gets alongside me just like the Red Bull does. We're going to hug the inside, make the corner so much shorter than his. He tries to be aggressive getting on the throttle, but the car almost steps out from him. So we keep the lead of this race, and we just need to survive for the rest of Sector 3, just like Max Verstappen in 2021, to be able to claim 2 wins in a row. He's running out of places to overtake us. We're quicker as we have more downforce here. And coming around the final corner, we're going to cross the line for our 2nd win in a row in Hyperdrive Esports. 2 wins in a row, and our only 2 wins of this season to close out the season. And I needed all 50 of those points to be able to clinch P2 in the Drivers' Championship, which we do accomplish on the last race of the season. And as you can see, with no Alfa Romeo in sight on the grid and a 1-2 by McLaren, we also claim the Constructors' Championship. And that is actually only my second Constructors Championship all time. I have a few, quite a few at this point.
The way I had my
Well, I
foot,
guess
my
if I'm
middle
only
toes
counting
are numb.
Drivers' Championships that happen when we're using the real cars, I got one,
My
two, three,
toes
four,
were curled almost
like
as tight as my
5 or
butthole was
6.
clenched on the last lap.
And this is only my second Constructors
You don't
Championship.
have
I've
to
always
act
had
like you're
really
pushing
bad
the
luck
gas
with
pedal.
Constructors Championships,
I
but
was
not
like,
the case here. This is my second Constructors Championship all time, and the first
I was,
time
like,
I've won the
whipping it like a
Constructors
horse on the ground,
Championship. Oh, I'm sorry, it's my third Constructors, but my first one that I've ever won without winning the Drivers' Championship.
Yes.
And it felt really good to get it on the last race, let alone get P2 in the Drivers' Championship on the last race, accomplish our goal that we set how many months ago when the season wasn't going great, and finally get our win last week, and then make it 2 in a row. Like, we really did end this league on a high. And yeah, what is there to say? Not a better way to end a league than this. Well, I guess if it would have been to win the league, it would have been. But, you know, all things considered, couldn't have ended this league in a better fashion. We're going to celebrate on the podium with our teammate, claim our second win in a row, a 1-2 for the team, and a great way for the team to end up as well. As in this league, your seat is completely random. So you don't know who you're going to have or what car you're going to be in every year. So winning the Constructors is no easy feat, as you can't just pick a good teammate. But I got lucky with having Lynx by my side. We didn't really work together the whole season. We just kind of coexisted good enough, didn't fuck each other up, and really came on, both of us did, in the second half of the season to make a heroic comeback to claim the Constructors Championship. And like I said, with that win, we got P2 in the championship, and it felt damn good.
Fucking win.
Before we end off this series on Hyperdrive Esports and head into our next season, which, like I said, they're the one league branched off, so the one group is kind of on their own again. So they are kind of demerging, I guess, and they're going back to one of the leagues they originally were before all these mergers, and that was Weekend Night Racing. And after thinking about it, we did decide to give another shot, because it was basically all the people that were remaining in this league, all the good people that were still left. We decided to go back and give it another go and try to finally get the Drivers' Championship. But before I go, like I said, I wanted to go on a whole rant, but I tried to hold off. But I kind of do it all in the post-race interview. For those of you who don't know, in a lot of leagues, this one does. We do post-race podium interviews. So in my post-race interview, I kind of say everything I wanted to say earlier. So for the rest of this video, I'll just give that to you guys, and yeah, I kind of just air it all out there. So thank you guys so much for joining, the ones that have joined, and this will conclude our season and the league in general of Hyperdrive Esports. But this is far from the end. We still got SRL going, we still got dirt car racing going, and next season you will see me in Weekend Night Racing. So until then, see you guys in the next one.
Hello, Epic.
Hello.
Well, good to hear from you again. Yeah, not too bad. Your second victory in a row, and well, you seemed like you were in full control. And then, well, I would say full control in some sense, because you did fight with AC for a little bit, but other than that, you seemed like you just kept your head down and just pressed on. How was it though for you for tonight at Abu Dhabi?
Well, it might have looked like I was in control. I was stressing balls the whole time. You know, it was full push the whole time. It was that happy medium of pushing right to the limit without making a mistake. It's very easy to make a mistake on this track, especially on pad, where you get basically no force feedback towards those new corners, like the long lefts. You get no force feedback, so it's literally a guessing game in there. But yeah, it was finding that line of managing the ERS just enough to be able to hold off the competition, and just always erring on the side of caution. You know, I might have gave up a couple tenths here and there, but at the same time, I just didn't want to ruin my whole race over pushing. So luckily I had a league race on this same track last week, so I was already had everything prepared. All I had to do was just get myself re-warmed up, and this is a track I've always loved, and Yeah, get 2 in a row right at the end.
Hmm.
I wish the points were updated so I knew if I got the P2 and the drivers,
Yeah,
or if we.
I
I think
know.
we might have got constructors too. Like I think we might have just won constructors on that, which would be great to know. That could have
If
been
you
a
did,
hype ending.
oh, I know, I know. Like, I'm not in charge of like the
Oh
tier
yeah.
itself. I'm in charge of prospect. I was I was originally supposed to race, but then our commentator couldn't show up, so that's why I had to compensate the race. But yeah, if I would have known that, yeah, that would have been a hype ending, like you mentioned. But speaking of a hype ending, you almost did a little bit actually with Lynx on the final lap. He came close to you at turn 9, but then apparently he made a slight error that pretty much was the nail in the coffin for you, from what it looked like.
Yeah, it's so hard to keep it around the outside, especially when you're on the same tire, same life as someone else. Like the amount of extra distance he has to travel around that corner. I'm guessing the mistake just came from him, trying to push all or nothing to get the spot right there. But yeah, it's that's
Yeah.
why that's why I kept
Uh,
hugging the inside because it's so good on that corner. Like it's unless if you have a tire advantage or if the other person sucks, you're not going to pass around the outside there.
Right. Yeah, no, I have seen moves around the outside. I remember I commentated the same track last week. I've seen some outside moves there, and it honestly has amazed me how some drivers can do that. But yeah, no, one more final question to you. Obviously this is the conclusion to Ultimate, but next time about we are rebranding as Weekend Night Racing, and we'll have 3 divisions, and I assume you'll be in the top one. But if you race full time, are you looking forward to it?
I'm still undecided if I'm going to race or not. Quite frankly, things
No,
have been
that's fair enough.
an absolute mess the last 2 seasons. Inconsistent stewarding has been honestly terrible the last 2 seasons,
Hmm.
not just for me but for other people. And I know that there's a lot of people that are good in this league. There's a lot of people that do a lot of good in this league, and there's a lot of people that I just hope that in the future that now the league's in the hands of the people that actually have the passion for it and actually care, and all those kind of shitters are gone because they definitely did exist in the big merger. So I'm really hoping the inconsistencies are gone, not
Oh
just
yeah.
with stewarding, but
Oh
whatever our
yeah.
rule is, we need to stick to it. We need to look at our schedule in advance, make sure it's not conflicting with something else that people aren't going to show up, and if it does,
Yeah.
you gotta reward those that are willing to show up. Even if you got 8 people, 6 people, fuck it, run the race instead of canceling it, and reward those that are dedicated. And if we're not gonna
Yeah.
always do
Yep.
full
I agree.
qualifying, then let's just do short qualifying. Just the rules being consistent
Hmm.
week to week just helps improve the competitive integrity so much more, and helps everyone, not just the racers but the viewers, care more because like if someone's watching this, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what are
Exactly.
what are the settings this week? And I know you messed up today, but it wasn't just you. What was it, 5 races total had incorrect lobby settings in one way or another this season, and it's like
Yeah.
it's
No.
like
The
come
only
on,
thing.
we're
Yeah.
the top
I
tier.
realize I.
Yeah.
For-
We're the top tier of a 7 tier, or what was
Yeah.
a seven
Exact.
tiered league, and it feels like we've been getting the shit end of
Yeah.
the stick for the last 2 seasons now. And it's just, and you also got, it's not
Hmm.
just those guys, it's also the drivers. These people shouldn't be sandbagging on purpose and doing Division 2 because they don't want to deal with the Division 1 competition. There's tons of them that have, like, how many of these
Hmm.
Division 2 drivers are also showing up on Sundays as reserve? They can race Division 1, they just don't want to. That's sandbagging shit. I mean, there's no way for you guys to really know who's lying and who's not, but at the same time, that just messes with the whole league and just makes the experience not as good for everyone. I mean,
Hmm.
imagine if we really had the 20 best in every league. At the end of the day, I'm doing a lot of shitting on people
Yeah.
right now, but at the end, I'm thankful for the people that put in the time, that do care and do run this, because at the end of the day, I do enjoy it, and I'm just coming from a perspective of making things as good as they can moving forward.
No, that's totally fine. I mean, I appreciate your feedback. I mean, I'm also one of the admins, as you know, but I do appreciate any sort of feedback that comes from it. And yeah, we are going to 3 divisions, so it should make things simplified. But I do agree that maybe we need to, be consistent with the ruling and also the lobby settings. Yes, I know I messed up on that, on what day was supposed to be because it was supposed to be at night. That is my fault on that. I'll take full responsibility for that. But yeah, no, I do agree. We do need to do some sort of consistency because if we do that, yeah, we'll make it run better. But again, I do appreciate the feedback, but also congratulations though on your win. And if you do race, I hope to see you back next season as well.
Hey, Thank you guys so much. Thank you to everyone that helped run the league. I know like Wilson has been messaging me on the side, so I appreciate the work these guys go in. And yeah, this one feels good to get 2 in a row right at the end of the season after fighting for wins every race last season, coming to the new game and not being as competitive. It feels good to get back to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you feel that way. But anyway, I guess I will conclude everything there, chat. And also, big thank you to all the drivers that did want to fully participate. We do appreciate you guys a lot. I do appreciate everything that we've tried to do. And yeah, and I'm glad that we will be making it more simplified. Hopefully, they'll improve everything for not just for us admins, but also for the drivers as well, because we want everyone to have a good experience overall. So with weekend night racing coming up in January, that'll be a couple months time. Hope you guys will be around for that. And yeah, I think we'll be done the new era and new rebranding and a new identity, I say, of this league. But until then, that concludes Ultimate. I have been K1997. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you in a couple months' time for Weekend Night Racing, whenever that time will be in January, but just keep your eyes posted for anything that happens. Until then, it's goodbye, and take care.